Question number 2, Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his statement that, quotes, "there's a message from Northland," end quotes, for the government? If so, will the government take that message seriously?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes and yes.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Does he accept that one of the messages Northland sent was that his government should have invested in roads while it had the chance, rather than slashing funding by $36 million and resorting to last-minute bribes worked out on the back of Stephen Joyce's envelope?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, one of the feedbacks we got in Northland was that they were delighted that we were spending almost twice as much on roads as the previous Labor government that completely ignored the region of Northland.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Has he received the message that funding an election bribe with $70 million of taxpayers' money without any proper cost-benefit analysis displayed an irresponsible attitude to the public purse?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaking again, one of the strong messages we got in Northland was they do want an upgrade to their bridges, and actually spending an additional $69 million over 6 years makes sense, given we're spending about $135–140 million per year. But if we do want to get into the matter of costing of election promises, I'm more than happy to get the Treasury to run the ruler over Labor's policies, which were quote unquote a dog.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Does he agree with the NBR that one of the messages from the Northland by-election is, quotes, "the government is biddable, highly biddable, and, to be blunt, a bit weak," end quotes, and is that reflected in his dealings with Sky City, Rio Tinto and Warner Brothers?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, but what it does reflect actually is that this is a government in touch with New Zealanders, because if the member is saying that, we should go and have that discussion with the people of Southland and Invercargill, where Rio Tinto backs up 3,000 jobs, so under Labor, they're gone. We should speak to the people who work in the film sector in New Zealand, who actually physically went out and campaigned and went out there and protested for this government to clarify the definition of a contractor. The whole way through, Labor were Hobbit haters until the Premier came around, and then they'd all turned up in droves.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Is he aware that it's not only Northland that's seen its road funding slashed under National? In fact, Northland, Gisborne, Hawke's Bay, Taranaki and State Highway 3, Manawatu Whanganui, Marlborough, Nelson, Tasman and the West Coast now get a total of $100 million a year less to maintain and improve their roads than they did when this government came to power.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, that's quite incorrect. The only thing that got eroded was the Labor Party's vote in Northland that fell by 2/3 the first outing under Andrew Little, and he got done.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
In light of the result in Northland, is he aware of demands in other national held seats that their MP resigns too, because it's the only way this government will ever fix their roads?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I find it interesting, actually, that the Labor Party all of a sudden think that National doesn't spend enough on roads. We've had roads of national significance, roads of regional significance. There's been more money spent on roads under this government, I'm pretty sure, than under Labor over a very long period of time, all resisted by Labor, I might add. So, Mr Speaker, if it's a debate over roading, we win.
Question number 3, Dr Russell Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Climate Change Issues and asks, will he submit an emissions